Candace Owens hosts the Candace Owens podcast. She joins us now. I have to say, Candace Owens, the one thing I will never attack Joe Biden for is his age, because it's the one thing he doesn't control. And I have absolute sympathy for him. I hope to make it to that age. So this is not an attack on him for being old. I'm just amazed that no one around him feels empowered enough to point out, I'm sorry, you're too old to be president. Why is that the one verboten thing? Why is that the one thing no one can say?
Yeah, you know, I do feel some sympathy for Joe Biden because obviously he is mentally incapacitated, but it does make you want to question Jill Biden and people like Giselle Fetterman, who understand exactly what their husbands are going through, understand that they're being mocked on the world stage, understand that they are struggling even to form coherent sentences, and yet they sit there and they applaud and they think we're just going to keep hiding this from the public, all on their quest for power. And that's really what this comes down to. Look, we can call these people incompetent, they are, but does incompetency matter? No, because they're here to serve the party. This is all Democrats care about. You are here to serve the party, and actually, if you are incompetent, that's even better, right? Because these are puppets. These people are on strings. These people are to do what they're told and not to think expressly, actually. They are told not to think individually. Think only about the party. Do what we tell you to do. And what we want you to do is to further disintegrate these communities, is to further denigrate these communities, because what we are after, as the party initiative, is full omnipotence. And what they need to create is a new system of slavery. This is why I call it the ultimate thing that they are after is neo-slavery. They want to make sure that no individual holds power in this country. And so what you're seeing is something that's very evil. You are calling out something correctly and saying that their final war is a war against nature. It's a war against sanity. It makes us question our sanity. You would never think that we would be having these debates that we're having today, that people would be telling you that it's a wrong thing to say that an 86-year-old is old, right? So suddenly we're being attacked for this. Everything is given an ism. And the reason is just as you correctly pointed out, is because it is the final war, and they need to make sure that they control even language.
Well, I think language is the key, because they've cowed the population, even smart people who know better, into not saying the obvious things. Their fear is that people will say the obvious things. You're too old to be president. Your trans admiral is a dude. Putting incompetent people in the cockpits of commercial airliners or having them perform heart surgery is insane. You're insane. Like, none of this is real. You can't allow this to happen. And those are the very things that no one is willing to say. I don't know why.
I'm certainly not one of those people. I don't struggle to say exactly what needs to be said, and this is exactly why. Because if they win this battle, there is nothing left, right? There is nothing left. And so I encourage people. I say, no, you need to say the thing that you know is true. Because the problem that we're having right now is too many conservatives are acting like cowards, right? They're saying we need to be nicer. It's okay. This is how they have gained so much territory. This is how we are fighting them in the school systems, how we're fighting them in the classrooms, how we are fighting them to simply acknowledge that women can never be men and men can never be women. And these are insane arguments, but they're able to happen because good people sit by and say absolutely nothing while they run amok. And so I also want to say this, and it's very important to point out, the Democrats used to be quiet about their corruption, right? Years ago, they were quiet about their corruption. Now they're corrupt openly, and they're mocking you. And what they're really asking you is, and what are you going to do about it? So what? We knew Fetterman was mentally incapacitated, and we still allowed him to make it all the way to the Senate. And what are you going to do about it? So what? We know that Joe Biden can barely walk. We can see the early signs of dementia. And what are you going to do about it? It's a very fair question. I'd ask the same to everybody out there watching this program. What are you going to do about it? Why don't you start saying the truth and having the courage to say it boldly?
Can I just ask you one last question as a wife and mother, which you are? So here you have Dr. Jill and Giselle Fetterman both cheering on their husbands' political careers while one is effectively incapacitated by dementia and the other one's literally in a mental hospital. Wouldn't you think that a spouse who loved her husband, say, no, it's not good for him? Why is Dr. Jill not the villain in this story? What is her problem? What a ghoulish, power-seeking creep. And the same with Giselle Fetterman. Her husband's in a mental hospital. Like, what?
Yeah, absolutely. These women are monsters. I'm not going to mince words here. These women are absolute monsters. If you're in a relationship and you love someone and you've had a family with this individual, you would never want to see them suffer, period. Now imagine allowing them to suffer publicly. That's exactly what these women are doing. They are somehow have become creatures on their quest for power, and they should be ashamed of themselves, but I promise you they won't be, because it's all about serving the party. And if they have to sacrifice their husbands, oh well.
Yeah, if my wife did that to me because she wanted to spend the weekend at Camp David, my feelings would be hurt a lot. Candace Owens, I appreciate it. Great to see you tonight. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Subscribe to the Fox News YouTube channel to catch our nightly opens, stories that are changing the world and changing your life. From Tucker Carlson Tonight.